Hello everyone, welcome to the session of Selenium with Robot Framework. Before we begin with this session, you need to be familiar with locators. So that is a prerequisite. In case you are not familiar with web locators, then I would recommend you to go and watch the video or locators that is there on the YouTube. Now, what is Selenium? Selenium is a automation tool to automate any website. So what are the things that we generally do with any website? So these are the things that we do. We open a page and then we type on some text box or something. We click on various objects. It can be button, image, anything, or we select some radio button, or we select something from checkbox, or we select some specific value from select box. So these are the things that we're going to discuss today, how to do this. So let's begin with open command. So open is nothing but opening a browser or a page. So how to do this? A simple thing, just go to Selenium, right? So I'm not I have a ready-made project out here. I'm not going to create anything new right now, but because I'm assuming that you have already been through the robot framework session, so you know that this is test suite and this is test case. So I'm just going to take up with that example. So to open a browser, say open and then open browser. Okay, what are the options that are available? So the first argument you need to provide is URL. Okay, so say open browser and then www.google.com. don't forget to put HTTP or HTTPS because that is mandatory. Then your browser, so default is Firefox, and then if you want to use any other browser, these are the various available options. So Firefox or FF for Firefox. For Google Chrome it is Google Chrome, GC and Chrome. Okay, you can use this option. So I'm not gonna open the browser specifically in this keyword, because what I have is I have written a keyword which is called launch browser, which is open browser, and I have a variable which holds the value of web URL, which is actually http knowledgefarm.in/tst/e.html. okay, and I'm also using a variable called browser which is holding a value Chrome, and I'm using this in a in my test suite which says suite setup and it says launch browser. So every time I run any of the test, it's going to launch a browser default by default. So let's begin with type option. So what do you type into? So we type into text box or text area, both are treated equally. So to type any text, all you have to say input text and locator. Okay, so the syntax goes like this. It says input text, okay, and it asks for a locator here, and then whatever value that you want to use. So in this case I'm using input text into this particular text box, and then this is the user name I'm typing in. So another option we have with type is, or input is input password. So the way input password differs is you can click on just press Ctrl and take your mouse over this, so it takes you. The difference between this keyword and input text is that this keyword does not log the given password. That means in the log you are not going to see the password. So this is for the security reason. You can use according to your convenient. Even if you use input text for the password field, that's perfectly going to be fine. Let's run this program. So I'm going to click on type, okay, and I'm going to run this program. So there you go, the browser is opening now and it's going to type something in this field now. That's it. So it typed something and it immediately closed the browser. So let me remove this close browser by keyboard for now, so that you can wait and see what's happening on the browser. So there you go, it's gonna input username and then password, and then you can see the test case is passed out here. Okay, so let me close this browser manually. Next is click. Okay, so there are various options available with click. So right click and then control and then space for the autocomplete, and then it will tell you all the available options. So you can see click button, click element, click image, click. So with these different options, they are all gonna do one thing, that is click. Okay, so that's why I'm recommending that you should use click element. Okay, the syntax for click element is click element and the locator, that's it. Okay, if with the locator, if you are familiar with that part, so if you just enter any value like this, so click element and then say button. Okay, so it's gonna look for id is equal to button or name equal to button. Okay, that's what it's gonna do basically. uh, and the click link, the way it is different is, so it looks for id, name and href. So if you have anchor tag, so it has a is equal to href and then something. So if you can see if that is the text that is visible, it's gonna use that. Similarly for button, it's gonna look for another attribute called value. Oops. Okay, value. So it should be like, whatever your input tag is, it will have value equal to. So let me show you an example. So if you have this button, okay, called button, so it will have if you see this reset button. Okay, so it has type equal to reset and value equal to reset. Okay, so this value that it looks for if it is button. So similarly there are different attributes that it looks for if you use that. So for image, it's gonna look for id and src, also in alt. So alt is used for alternative image, alternative text, that if in case image is not available, src tells you the source of the image. So as simple as that. In all the cases, I would recommend to use click element because it becomes a standard. But again, if you want to see whether the particular step is whether it is button or image, so depending on whatever your convenience, you can use whatever element you want to use, but click element is going to work in all the cases. So let us go and first of all let us see what we are doing right now. So what we are going to do is first of all it clicks the element which is a checkbox, that is checkbox 2. Okay, so that is this element. Let me show you what is checkbox 2 out here. So if you see choice B is your checkbox 2, it's gonna click on that. Then it again clicks on the same thing. So it should be unchecked in a while after 2 seconds, and then it is click link. Yeah, that is it. What we are doing is next. So text field is a link that is out here, available out here. There you go. So it's gonna click on text field. So you should be able to see page like this. So in the beginning of this web page, you should be see this. So if you click on that link, it should bring you here. So that's what's gonna happen. Okay, let us see. Let me remove this alert stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna run this program, and there you go. Also is opening, and then it should choice B, and then it happened so fast. So let me increase the sleep time. So I'm gonna wait for like 5 seconds before anything happens. Then after 1 second, everything else is going to happen at the interval of 1 second. So let me run the program again. Okay, there you go. So it's going to click on choice B. Now uncheck. That's it. And click on that link. That's it. So that is how click is going to work. Next is checkbox. Yeah, let me tell you one more thing. So if you want to put a pause, so sleep is the keyword that you want to use. That's already been covered in robot framework training. So next option is checkbox. So we just did the interaction with this checkbox right now. Okay, by click, using the click option. But say if you the problem with click option is, if it is already clicked and you want to click on it, and if it is already clicked, then it's gonna unclick it, right? It's gonna uncheck it. So for that, you need to put a check whether it is already checked. Then you should not click it because you want to select it. Okay, so that's why there's already ready-made keyword available called this. Okay, so it says select checkbox. So what it is going to do is, if it is already selected, then it's not going to do anything. It's going to let it as it is. Okay, and then it's going to say unselect checkbox. So in this case also we are going to select this checkbox called choice B. Let's run the program. So here it's gonna, and then it uncheck the checkbox, and then we are done. Now comes the radio button. So the only difference between radio button and checkbox is apart from the shape, that it looks round and this is square. That you can select only one option out of the group, unlike checkbox where you can select multiple things. So in this case what happens is, the way it work is in your program, in your HTML code. Let's take a look at it. So if you see, all this radio button has same name. If you see name equal to radio, name equal to radio, and name equal to radio, so they belong to the same group called name equal to radio. Okay, so radio is their group. The only way they are different is using this value. So value equal to op1, value equal to op2, value equal to op3. So that is how it is getting differentiated. And this label is something out of context when it comes to Selenium. So you cannot do any interaction using label. So you cannot say I want to select option 1. Okay, so that cannot be done. All you have to rely on this thing. Okay, value is equal to op1, value op2, else you have to use click. Okay, so let us see how to use that. So if you say select radio button and then op1, so that is what I'm giving here. So let us see the syntax first of all. Okay, so the syntax for the radio button is, it says the group name that you have to provide, and then you have to provide the value. Okay, so in this case our group name is your name, that is radio, and the option, so the other option is value, that is op1 here. Okay, so we are selecting radio 1, and then we're going to select option 1. Then we are going to select option 2, and then after some time, this is another way to select radio button, where I am going to click on element with particular locator. In this case I am going to use ID, or you can use XPath of that particular button also. That should perfectly be okay. So let's go and run the program. So the browser is open now. Sometimes it takes time. So now it should select on option 1, and then option 2, and option 3. That's it. Okay, so that's it. If you want to see how the code is written, you can pause the video anytime. Okay, next is drop down. Okay, so there are multiple ways in which you can select something from the drop down. So let me show you the drop down first of all. I mean the HTML code, of course. So we have a drop down which is called select box. Okay, so this select box, you can see either you can see this visible text, that is option 2, option 3, option 4, or they have a value associated with this. This is called value equal to 4. So these are the value that normally exchange between the server and the client. And another thing is the index. So sometimes you don't have value out here, and you are not always sure that what's gonna come next, because the values are dynamic. So you are gonna simply say select second value, whatever it is. So index start from 0, so this is your 0th value. Okay, this is your first, second, and likewise. So these are the different options in which we can select values. Let us see it in the right editor. Okay, so first is select from list, and then you can say you have to give the locator of the select box. So let us see the syntax. Okay, so it's simple. All you have to provide a locator. It can be anything: id, name, xpath, css locator, or dom, anything that's gonna work for you. And then item. So you can see that, in case of there are multi select box available, which is there, so you can, all you have to do is you have to provide an array. But if it is only one item, then it should perfectly work also. So select is my id of this select box. So you can see this. Okay, so this is it. That's what I'm gonna give select. I can put it like this also: id is equal to select. These both are equal. Okay, this is another way I'm using select. So this is just to show the different locators, that's it, nothing else. Okay, and then first of all I'm selecting option 3, okay, from the drop down, and then I'm going to select third index, which is option 4. Then I'm going to select so first I'm selecting by list, then index. So index, third option, that is option 4. Then I'm selecting by label, that is option 5. So the difference between label and list is much faster compared to label, and then list supports multiple values selection, that's it. So else this and this both are equal. And select from list by value. So value, as I said, it's the HTML attribute of the tag. So value, this value. Okay, so in the sequence it should when we run the program, first it will select the default value is option 1, and then it's gonna select option 3. Then after a second it's gonna select option 4, and then after that option 5, and then option 1. That is what it should do. So let us run the program and see what happens. So there we go. So if we have option 1 by default, 3, 4, 5, and option 1, that's it. So this way we can select all different values from a drop down. Now let me tell you one more thing. Nowadays, people are using more fancy code to use the drop down, so they are not actually drop down. Don't get confused with that. So make sure that your drop down is starting with this select tag. If that is not the case, then what happens is this could be a combination that you are just using a text box, and if you click on it, then it loads a div, and inside it loads the list. And then it can be a lazy loading option also, so you can scroll and then it will show you more options. So this select is not going to work all the time for all those fancy or this kind of drop down. So make sure that you have this select tag for your drop down all the time. So that is about doing the interaction with different type of objects. In next session I'm going to cover various things like get iframe. Till then you can practice this. Thanks for watching the video.